As the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. I have said these things to you so that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be complete. This is my commandment, to love one another as I have loved you. No one has a greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends, if you do what I command you. I do not call you servants any longer, because the servant does not know what the master is doing. But I have called you friends, because I have made known to you everything that I have heard from my Father. You did not choose me, but I chose you. And I appointed you to go and to bear fruit, fruit that will last, so that the Father will give you whatever you ask him, whatever you ask him in my name. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Really happy that Divine gave me the opportunity to preach for 45 minutes today. Has everybody heard that? I just thought I'd get up here. I want to thank Divine and Olivia first. You know, a lot of times when you're preparing for marriage, it seems like it's, the priest is doing it all. It's not that case. It's not that way, really. To prepare for marriage today demands effort. To do it the right way. I've been inspired by their interest and desire and their goodwill in wanting and intending to do what the Catholic Church has asked them to be and to do to each other and for all of us here today are witness. So I want to welcome the Adams family from Alabama and wherever other parts you're hailing from. It's great to have you in Nashville. I know some of you are from Nashville anyway. And the Yedas family from Boston. It's great to spend some time with you yesterday and today. So I want to just talk about two specific things. First, the church's vision of marriage, a little bit about that, and then secondly, what the scriptures tell us today about that vision. We mentioned today at the beginning about salvation history. You know, that's kind of a theological word, term. What does that actually mean? Well, it basically is a word that explains the action of God in history to bring us back to Him. Okay? And salvation history is filled with spousal language, with marital language. Right? Like bridegroom, like bride. And what we witness today, and we're going to contemplate, is the action of the divine bridegroom in the life of every human being, in the life of man, in the history. Promising what? Promising love to his bride. Who are his bride? Every human being made in the image and likeness of God is considered for him the bride of his bride. We know that something went wrong. You know, you just look into the world, you look at last week, and everything's been happening. Something's really screwed up. You know? And it's trouble. But you don't have to look at what's going on, you know, necessarily in the news. Look at yourself. You're like, we know. We're just pathetic. We know we just are not what we're supposed to be. And it's called sin. Right? The bride sinned. The bride fell away from the bridegroom. The bride rejected the bridegroom. And that obviously saddened the bridegroom. But because he's a divine bridegroom, he was constantly seeking his bride. What did he do? He said, you know what? I'm going to forgive him and I'm going to start with a covenant. It's going to be with a person. And that person was Abraham. Then he went to a family of Isaac. Made a covenant with that family. Then he made a covenant with a tribe, Jacob. Then after the tribe, he said, I'm going to make a covenant with an entire nation, Moses. And then with the coming of Christ, the God-man, God, the Word made flesh, he said, you know what, I'm eliminating all boundaries, and I'm going to make it with everyone, especially non-believers, the Gentiles. Like we read in the letters of St. Paul, the Christian church. Everyone is going to be allowed into this covenant. Because this divine bridegroom, imagine this, imagine making a covenant with someone you know is going to let you down. Someone who will break your trust. Someone who will hurt you. And still making that covenant. That is the love of God. That is the love of the divine bride. And that's what we're witnessing today. Do you think Giovanni and Olivia arrived here like with everything in order? Let me just tell you, ladies and gentlemen. They know it, we know it, and everybody knows it. They got stuff figured out, right? Who doesn't? So they're not up here as little Mr. and Mrs. Perfect in a little perfect way. Even though I right? Yeah, we need these details. No, they're here. Why? They're facing east. You're going to see me in the Mass face east. Why? Because the sun rises in the east. Who's the sun? Jesus. He makes it all perfect. He makes it all good. He draws us into the great and perfect reality. So they, in their imperfections, we, in our brokenness, our imperfections, we also face east and look to the perfect bridegroom. Because we know we're not there yet. Right? We need work like anybody else. So the Catholic Mass, which some of you, maybe it's your first time, maybe it's your second time, lots to swallow, right? The smells of the bells and the kneeling and all that kind of stuff. Explain that to me, Father. That's another little class unto itself, right? The Catholic Mass is actually the most fitting place for a wedding. Because it's about the covenant. Right? It's Giovanni and Olivia professing their vows within the context of what? Of the celebration of the Eucharist. What do we celebrate in the Eucharist? We celebrate the divine bridegroom, Jesus Christ, laying his life down, pouring himself out for his bride on the cross. In an amazing act of sacrificial love, which is the hallmark of marriage. And it's worrying, and it's so troubling to see how marriage is so often not that. Right? It's everything but that. An act of sacrificial love, one to the other. So within this context, they profess their vows. Because they know, as we said, they need the grace, the support, the blessing of the divine bridegroom. They need his love working in them. If they're not a chance. Getting married in the Catholic Church presupposes that you attend what the Catholic Church intends by marriage. That's the beauty of preparing. I mentioned it. You intend to enter into a sacrament. What is sacrament? Sacrament means a sign. Right? A sign of what? A sign of something different. Another path. A path that awakens interest, curiosity. Wow. That's what happens when you commit to each other and live the sacramental sign of marriage. The way Christ shows us. Where sacrificial love is at the centerpiece of what we are. It's tough to love another human being. Very difficult. Now, how many of you are married? I never show hands actually who's married. Nice smile. There you go. So you guys know what I'm talking about? Please say yes. I know you're going. Marriage demands sacrifice. Not easy. And what Olivia and Giovanni are saying is that, you know what? I need God in this thing called marriage. I need you, Lord, here What they're doing is public. It's not a little private little decision that they made. No, it's public. You are witnesses to this public act. And the church really finds that important. When I was ordained in the priesthood 15 years ago, it was just me and the bishop kind of in the room, just get this figured out, bishop, and No. Thousands of people. I was ordained with 40 other, thousands of people in my ordination, witnessing my yes in service of Christ in the church. Public act. So they're not only saying, God, I need you in this matter. I need all of you. They need your good example. They need you to nurture what they're committing to today. It's not like, I wish you all the best, we're going this direction. No, it's, you know what? I hope we can be that for your body and Olivia. And we all know the opposite of that, the brokenness of relationships. The bitterness and resentment and the anger and everything else that comes from that. We've all tasted that in our families. Do we want that? Absolutely not. We today celebrate hope. We celebrate today the blessing of what this needs to be, a sign in the world of something great. And we know those couples. We know them. Something special. What's up with that couple? They're amazing. We know those couples are living there. We know how it pours out of them. We don't even know how to describe it. We don't have the words for it. We just